The tennis world is burning. Not from the heat of competition, but from a fire ignited by words so cruel, so unconscionable, that they've forced the sport to confront its darkest corners. What happened between American player Alicia Parks and Filipino sensation? Eala at the Australian Open has transcended typical on-court rivalry and entered territory that no athlete should ever venture into. This is a story about boundaries crossed, families violated, and a young woman fighting battles on multiple fronts while an entire nation rallies behind her. Let me be absolutely clear from the outset. This isn't your typical tennis drama involving disputed line calls or racket smashing tantrums. This is about humanity, about the invisible lines that separate competitive fire from genuine cruelty. And when those lines are crossed, when someone targets not just a player but their suffering family members, the consequences must be swift and severe. The tennis authorities have spoken, and their message echoes across every court, every locker room, and every press conference worldwide. There are limits. There must be limits. Just hours ago, confirmation arrived that has sent shockwaves radiating from WTA headquarters in Florida all the way to the pristine blue courts of the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center in Manila. Alicia Parks, known for her powerful serve and combustible temperament, has been hit with an indefinite suspension and a $2,000 fine. For casual observers, this might seem like standard disciplinary action, but make no mistake, an indefinite suspension in professional tennis is the nuclear option. It's career-threatening, it's reputation-destroying, and it signals that something extraordinarily serious occurred. The incident traces back to that first-round Australian Open clash between Parks and Eala that concluded just days ago. On paper, Parks emerged victorious in the match. But what unfolded during those intense hours under the Melbourne sun was anything but a simple tennis competition. The atmosphere was toxic, witnesses reported. The tension wasn't the normal electricity of high-stakes sport. It was something darker, something that made spectators uncomfortable and left officials scrambling to understand exactly what transpired. According to multiple sources close to the situation, sources who spoke on condition of anonymity due to the sensitive nature of the allegations, the trash talk during the match didn't stay within acceptable boundaries. Instead, Parks allegedly launched deeply personal attacks that targeted the one person Eala fights for every single day: her mother. Specifically, the insults referenced Eala, Alex's mother, who is currently battling a serious illness that has kept her from traveling, from attending matches, from being in her daughter's corner when she needs her most. Think about that for a moment. Really let it sink in. A mother, the woman who sacrificed everything to help her daughter achieve tennis greatness, is fighting for her health, possibly for her life, unable to embrace her child after grueling matches, unable to whisper words of encouragement between games. And that absence, that painful void created by illness, allegedly became ammunition for an opponent looking to gain a psychological edge. It's almost incomprehensible in its cruelty. For anyone who follows Eala's journey, and if you're watching this channel, you absolutely do, you understand the profound significance of family in her story. Eala hasn't just been a supportive parent. She's been the architect of Alex's career, the steady hand guiding every decision, the voice of reason during setbacks, and the first to celebrate every victory. The Eala family's commitment to Alex's tennis development meant sacrifices that most people cannot fathom. When Alex was just a young girl showing extraordinary promise, the family made the heart-wrenching decision to send her to train at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Spain. Imagine being a parent, sending your child across the world, knowing you'll miss years of daily moments, birthday parties, school events, all the small things that make up childhood, all in service of a dream. Eala has been the constant through all of it, the bridge between Alex's Filipino roots and her European training base, the person ensuring her daughter never forgot where she came from, even while conquering international stages. And now, when illness has forced this incredible woman to step back from the visible role she's played for so long, when she's fighting a private battle that the family has handled with remarkable dignity and discretion, that struggle allegedly becomes fodder for an opponent's psychological warfare. Sources indicate that when these comments were made during the Australian Open match, Alex was devastated. But here's what separates champions from everyone else. She didn't crumble. She didn't let Park see the tears that undoubtedly wanted to fall. She continued fighting, continued competing, maintained her composure in circumstances that would have broken lesser athletes. And that strength, that refusal to give satisfaction to someone attempting to weaponize her deepest pain, that's what makes Eala not just a talented tennis player, but a genuine role model. The immediate aftermath saw an explosion across social media platforms that forced tennis authorities to take notice. Within hours of the match concluding, hashtags like Justice for Alex and Respect in Tennis began trending globally. Filipino fans, already fiercely protective of their tennis princess, mobilized with righteous fury. But this wasn't just a nationalist reaction. Tennis fans from every corner of the globe, people who had never watched Alex play a single match, were expressing disgust at the reported comments. The outcry was universal because the violation was universal. Family is sacred. Illness is not a weapon. These are principles that transcend sport, culture, and nationality. The governing bodies found themselves in a position where action wasn't optional. The volume and intensity of public reaction made it clear that a standard fine or warning would be woefully inadequate. More importantly, the nature of the alleged offense demanded a response that would establish clear boundaries for future conduct. Professional tennis, for all its individual nature, is still a community. Players share locker rooms, practice facilities, and tournament venues for weeks at a time. That community cannot function if personal attacks on families, especially regarding serious health issues, are tolerated or treated as mere gamesmanship. The indefinite suspension means Alycia Parks exists in career limbo. Her ranking freezes where it stands. She cannot compete in any WTA or ITF-sanctioned events. Prize money she might have earned in upcoming tournaments evaporates. But beyond the immediate professional consequences, there's the reputational damage that may prove impossible to repair. Tennis has a long memory. The locker room will remember. Sponsors will remember. Fans will remember. Even if Parks eventually returns to competition, the stain of this incident will follow her. And perhaps that's exactly as it should be. As of this moment, Alycia Parks and her team have maintained public silence. No statement has been issued. No apology has been offered. No explanation has been attempted. That silence speaks volumes, though its meaning remains open to interpretation. Is it the silence of someone consulting lawyers and crafting a response? Is it the silence of someone who knows any words will only make things worse? Is it the silence of genuine remorse struggling to find adequate expression? We simply don't know. What we do know is that the tennis world is watching, waiting, and largely unforgiving. Meanwhile, Eala's response to this entire ugly episode has been perfect in its simplicity. She's let her actions speak. Rather than engaging in public feuds or media battles, rather than seeking sympathy or playing the victim, she's done what champions do. She's refocused on tennis, and she's coming home to do it. The timing of the WTA 125 Philippine Women's Open couldn't be more cinematically perfect if a Hollywood screenwriter had plotted it. After the heartbreak of the Australian Open, after the controversy and the emotional toll of having her family dragged into competition in the cruelest possible way, Alex has returned to Manila, and she didn't return quietly. The reception at the airport, the social media explosion, the billboard advertisements featuring her face along EDSA, all of it speaks to what this tournament represents. This isn't just another stop on the tour. This is history being written in real time. For decades, Filipino tennis fans have supported their players from afar, watching them compete on foreign soil, calculating time zone differences to catch matches in the middle of the night, celebrating victories through screens and streams. The Philippines has hosted Davis Cup ties and ITF events, but never, not once in the modern era, has the Women's Tennis Association brought official tour-level competition to these shores, until now. The WTA 125 Philippine Women's Open represents validation, recognition that the Philippines isn't just producing tennis talent, but deserves to host the global tennis community. The Rizal Memorial Tennis Center has undergone a transformation for this event. Reports from the ground describe pristine blue hard courts that mirror the speed and bounce characteristics of the Australian Open surfaces, creating familiar conditions for players while providing the fast-paced, aggressive tennis that fans love to watch. The facility's infrastructure has been upgraded with expanded seating capacity, professional-grade lighting for television broadcasts, and amenities that meet WTA standards. Tournament organizers knew that Eala's participation would draw unprecedented attention, and they've risen to the occasion, creating an environment worthy of the moment. The atmosphere in Manila is electric in a way that only home tournaments can generate. The humidity hangs heavy, typical for this time of year, adding another dimension to the physical challenge players will face. But that climate, that sticky, draining heat, is something Filipino players have grown up training in, a subtle home court advantage that shouldn't be underestimated. And then there's the noise, the gloriously unapologetic roar of Filipino fans who have waited their entire lives for this opportunity. The Rizal Memorial crowd will be partisan, loud, and absolutely relentless in their support. That energy can lift a home player to superhuman levels or crush a visiting competitor under its weight. The tournament draw has been revealed, and for Eala, seated second in the competition, the path to glory is both clear and treacherous. Her opening round opponent is Russia's Elena Koreva, and this matchup is far more dangerous than casual observers might assume. Koreva is no tomato can, no sacrificial offering to the home favorite. She's a legitimate professional who has climbed to a career-high ranking of 142, demonstrating the consistency and skill required to compete at this level. With 6 ITF titles to her name and a WTA 125 final appearance in Hueo on her resume, Koreva has proven she thrives at exactly this tier of competition. But here's the detail that makes this first-round clash genuinely compelling. These two have history. They faced each other before, back in 2020 at a W15 tournament in Eala, Spain, during their time on the ITF circuit. In that encounter, Koreva defeated a much younger Alycia. She owns a victory over the Filipino star, and that psychological edge, that knowledge that she's solved the Alycia puzzle before, cannot be dismissed. Confidence in tennis is everything, and Koreva will step onto the Rizal Memorial Court, knowing she's beaten this opponent before, regardless of how much both players have developed since that meeting. Koreva's game style presents specific challenges for Alex. She's a classic baseline grinder, the kind of player who relishes extended rallies and waits patiently for opponents to crack under pressure. She'll send ball after ball back across the net with heavy topspin, pushing Alex further and further behind the baseline, testing her fitness and her patience. Koreva's strategy will almost certainly involve trying to neutralize Alex's aggressive style, denying her the short balls and opportunities to dictate play that she thrives on. It's a chess match, and Koreva knows exactly which pieces to move. Moreover, Koreva is surely aware of everything Alex has endured recently. The disappointing Australian Open result, the emotional trauma of the Alycia Parks incident, the intense pressure of competing as the home favorite before a capacity crowd desperate to see their princess triumph. These are vulnerabilities that a smart opponent will try to exploit. If Koreva can weather the early storm of Filipino passion and Alex's inevitable aggressive start, if she can extend the match into a grueling baseline war, if she can silence the crowd by frustrating Alex's game plan, she has a genuine path to victory. But let's talk about why Eala should and likely will prevail in this matchup. First, that 2020 defeat happened when Alex was still developing, still learning, still years away from the player she's become. The Eala of 2026 is a Grand Slam junior champion who has proven herself capable of winning the biggest titles against the best young players in the world. She's a top 50 caliber talent who has competed at the highest levels of professional tennis, gained invaluable experience facing elite opponents in pressure situations, and developed the mental toughness required to succeed. This is not the same player Koreva beat on a small ITF court 6 years ago. Second, Alex possesses specific weapons that should trouble Koreva significantly. As a left-hander, Alex creates angles and spins that right-handed opponents find uncomfortable throughout their careers. That lefty forehand, whipping across the court from the ad side, pulling opponents wide and opening up the court, is a shot Koreva will see hundreds of times during the match and will struggle to neutralize completely. Recent reports suggest Alex's forehand velocity has increased this season, adding more power to complement the natural spin and angle advantages her left-handed stance provides. If she's striking the ball with confidence, if that forehand is firing, Koreva will spend the afternoon running, scrambling, and defending rather than dictating. Third, and perhaps most importantly, Alex will have the crowd. Not just supporting her, but lifting her, carrying her, refusing to let her fail. The Rizal Memorial Tennis Center will be packed with thousands of Filipinos who see Alex as representing not just herself or even Philippine tennis, but the possibility that their nation can produce world-class athletes in any sport. That collective energy, properly channeled, can be worth points in a tight match, can help a player dig deeper when fatigue sets in, can intimidate an opponent already feeling the pressure of playing against a home favorite. Koreva has undoubtedly played in hostile environments before, but nothing quite like what awaits her in Manila. The noise, the passion, the sheer force of will emanating from the stands, it's unlike anything else in tennis. The match is scheduled for a primetime slot, ensuring maximum viewership both in the stadium and across television screens throughout the Philippines. The entire nation will pause to watch. Offices will have the match streaming. Students will check scores between classes. Families will gather around televisions, experiencing the collective joy or agony that only sports can provide. This is the kind of moment that transcends the individual match result and becomes cultural memory. Decades from now, Filipinos will remember where they were when they watched Eala compete in the first WTA tournament on home soil. Prediction time. This match has all the ingredients for a classic three-set battle. Koreva is too good, too experienced, and too motivated to roll over easily. She'll fight, she'll scrap, she'll test every aspect of Alex's game. But ultimately, the combination of superior talent, home court advantage, and emotional motivation should prove decisive. Eala in 3 sets, with the deciding set being a statement, a declaration that she's not just happy to be here but determined to conquer. The crowd will erupt, and the tournament will have its storybook beginning. While Alex rightfully dominates the headlines and captures the imagination of the nation, the Philippine Women's Open is showcasing something equally important: depth. For too long, Philippine tennis has been criticized, fairly or not, as a one-player show, overly dependent on Eala's brilliance, while lacking the supporting cast necessary to become a genuine tennis nation. This tournament is beginning to change that narrative, and the change is being led by players whose names you need to learn, whose stories deserve attention, and whose performances are proving that Filipino tennis has a bright future beyond any single individual. Eala has just carved her name into Philippine sports history with letters 10 feet tall. This 17-year-old sensation from Quezon del Sur, currently balancing her tennis career with studies at Cebu College in Malabon, accomplished something no Filipino player had ever done before. She became the first winner of a WTA match on Philippine soil. Let that sink in for a moment, the first ever. In the qualifying rounds this past Saturday, Steffi faced fellow Filipina Angeline Alcala in what many expected to be a competitive, possibly tight contest between compatriots. Instead, the world witnessed a demolition. The final score, 6-1, 6-love, tells a story of complete dominance. Steffi didn't just win. She overwhelmed, overpowered, and outclassed her opponent in every aspect of the game. Reports from Courtside describe a player who came out with aggressive intent from the very first point and never relented. She started the match with a blistering forehand winner that set the tone for everything that followed. And in a touch of poetic symmetry that you couldn't script better if you tried, she ended the match with the exact same shot, a forehand winner that left no doubt about who controlled the proceedings. That 6-love second set, the dreaded bagel in tennis terminology, is particularly significant. Winning 6 consecutive games to close out a match demonstrates not just superior skill but mental dominance. The ability to maintain focus and intensity when an opponent is reeling, when the temptation to relax or play cautiously might creep in. For Eala to deliver that level of performance in her first WTA match, on home soil, with the pressure of representing her country and making history, speaks volumes about her temperament and her potential. This is someone who isn't intimidated by the moment. This is someone who seizes opportunities rather than shrinking from them. Steffi's reward for that dominant performance is a next-round qualifying match against Sakura Hosogi of Japan. This represents a significant step up in competition level. Hosogi is an experienced professional who has competed on the WTA Tour, faced top players, and understands what it takes to win at this level. She won't be overwhelmed by the occasion or intimidated by the crowd the way a less experienced player might be. But here's the thing about momentum in sports. It's real, it's powerful, and Steffi Aludo has it in abundance right now. She's riding the high of a historic victory, playing the best tennis of her life, and performing in front of fans who are desperate to embrace new heroes. If she can carry that confidence and aggressive mindset into the match with Hosogi, if she can harness the crowd energy the way Eala will be doing in the main draw, an upset is absolutely possible. Beyond Steffi's heroics, several other Filipino players have secured spots in the main draw and are preparing for matches that represent career-defining opportunities. These are the moments that can change trajectories, that can transform promising players into legitimate professionals, that can inspire the next generation watching from home. Elizabeth Abarque draws a genuinely difficult opening assignment against Mai Hontama of Japan. This is a legitimate David versus Goliath scenario. Hontama has competed at the sport's highest level, making her main draw debut at the Australian Open back in 2024, sharing the same courts with the biggest names in women's tennis. She plays a flat, aggressive style that puts constant pressure on opponents and doesn't allow time to settle into comfortable patterns. For Abarque, the strategic approach must involve disrupting Hontama's rhythm, getting serves in play to avoid giving away cheap points, and looking for opportunities to attack when they present themselves. The odds are against her, certainly, but upsets happen when underdogs embrace the freedom of having nothing to lose while favorites feel the pressure of expectations. Kayana Emma faces Russian player Tatiana Prozorova in what promises to be a fascinating clash of styles and aspirations. Emma, one of the rising stars in Philippine collegiate tennis, is stepping up several levels in competition for this match. Prozorova, at 22 years old, is in the prime of her athletic career, possesses 7 ITF titles that demonstrate her ability to win professional tournaments, and has achieved a career-high ranking of 140, proving she belongs at this level. On paper, Prozorova should win this match comfortably. But tennis isn't played on paper. It's played on courts where anything can happen, where home crowds can lift players beyond their normal capabilities, where pressure can flip advantages into liabilities. For Emma, this match represents a free swing, an opportunity to test herself against legitimate professional competition, with nothing to lose and everything to gain. If she can harness the crowd, if she can settle her nerves early and find her rhythm, if she can make Prozorova uncomfortable and force her to earn every single point, the match becomes interesting. And in a scenario where the match gets interesting, where it extends into a third set, where the crowd is roaring and the momentum is swinging, strange and wonderful things can happen. Tenny Maudes versus Mananchaya Sawangkayo of Thailand gives us a Southeast Asian derby that should provide fascinating tactical tennis. Sawangkayo is in excellent form currently, having recently reached the final of the WTA 125 tournament in Mumbai, demonstrating that she knows how to navigate this exact level of competition and perform when the stakes are highest. She understands the regional playing style, the pace and bounce of balls in hot, humid conditions, and the mental approach required to succeed in front of passionate crowds. This will be a battle of speed and agility, two players who rely on footwork and court coverage rather than overpowering weapons. Maudes enters as the underdog, but she's a fighter, someone who won't be intimidated by rankings or reputations. If she can stay patient, if she can match Sawangkayo's consistency and wait for opportunities to attack, she has a fighter's chance. Lorraine Gallerina is currently battling in the qualifying rounds against Pianpak Poonpak of Thailand, fighting for her place in the main draw. Every Filipino tennis fan should be sending positive energy her way, hoping she can navigate this qualifying gauntlet and join her compatriots in the main event.